Being 7 o'clock, we'll call the Marathon County Board of Supervisors to order, please. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing. That will be followed by a silent moment of reflection. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will have the reading of the notice, please.
An educational meeting of the Marathon County Board of Supervisors will be held at the Marathon County Courthouse Assembly Room, 500 Forest Street in the city of Wausau at 7 p.m. on Thursday, July 18th, 2019, and the agenda was duly signed and posted.
Thank you. I'd like to request everyone please silence their cell phones and any other electronic devices as to not interrupt the meeting proceedings. And we will go on to roll call. I would request everyone please sign in. Supervisor Seibert, please confirm. Thank you, and we'll proceed. I'd like to welcome all of the visitors that we have along with the viewing audience. And we'll move on to the 15-minute public comment, and there was no requests to address the board in the public comment. And we'll go on to education presentations and or reports. We have number 8A, standing committee chairpersons or designees. Reports by any Vice Chair McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick update. We didn't have a public safety meeting in July. It was canceled. But an update on the uniform addressing. They're finishing up in Rib Falls. Should be done shortly. I don't know if they're going to be done tomorrow, but sometime next week. And then they're going to move into Stettin next week with 2 installers. And then last but not least will be Rib Mountain, which they haven't set a date yet for when they're going to start doing them. Thank you.
Okay, any other announcements or any other, by any other chairs or designees? Okay, we will move on to, sorry, Supervisor Robinson, I'm sorry.
We have Design 9 doing the broadband work, and they were here earlier this week and meeting with educational leaders, community leaders, business leaders, town officials, and local elected officials in the metropolitan area, laying out what they intend to do in terms of evaluating the current status of the broadband services throughout the county, both in terms of towers, their location, their capacity, identifying needs and other things. And I think they had a fruitful couple of days, and they'll be coming back with a report in a couple of months, and we'll be looking for additional comments on that. And I think I would encourage you to reach out to your town officials and others, and if they have some concerns, to forward those on to Melinda Osterberg at the University Extension Office, or to myself, the Infrastructure Committee, or to Sarah. And we can forward those on to the consultants to make sure that they're incorporated into the report. As part of that discussion, the Infrastructure Committee is also looking at a Dig Once policy, which is part of our strategic plan. And we have asked the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is, again, comprised of the Wausau area municipalities, Stettin and Rib Mountain, Rothschild, Schofield, Corona Water, Weston, to take a look at trying to develop a uniform approach on improving communication with the utilities relative to the digging and placing of utilities in the right-of-way, because we don't want them to be, a year after we resurface the road, coming and digging it up. So we're going to be looking at working with the public works directors and officials in those communities to try to develop a policy that we can use in the county to try to improve communication try to time the utilities work before our projects, not after our projects, and hopefully have a more sound and reasoned approach to resurfacing and redoing our roads.
We have Supervisor Durham. Oh. Then he wanted to trick me? All right, then we will proceed to review and discussion on Tuesday meeting agenda items. We have item number 9A, appointments, Diversity Affairs Commission.
To appoint India Miller, Morning View Lane, Weston, to the Diversity Affairs Commission, replacing Brad Carter.
Questions on that appointment? Okay, we will proceed on to denial of claims under 9B1. Terry Jackson. Any questions on that denial of claim? Okay, we have item 9B2. CMD Melinda Young and Billy Davis. Denial of claim. Any questions? Supervisor Stark.
Yes, I was just wondering what this one was about since there was no.
Okay, can you use the microphone?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I was wondering what this one involves since there were no exhibits attached to it.
Corp Counsel will address that issue.
And I'm sorry, that was an oversight. I noticed that too when I was getting ready for the meeting. We are reacting to an itemized statement of relief sought that was served on Marathon County Special Education, Marathon County School District of Spencer, School District of Abbotsford, and Burnett Transit. The itemized statement says that as a direct and proximate result of actions and inactions of the defendants that caused harm to CMD, that's a juvenile, in the course of a bus ride in Marathon County on or about October 4, 2016. That date is incorrect. The incident that they're referring to happened, I believe, on June 8th, 2016, indicating that all three of the plaintiffs were damaged, incurring medical expenses, mileage, pain, suffering, emotional distress, and loss and enjoyment of life, and loss of society, companionship, and other damages. And so their itemized damages. So that's the statement in the document that we're reacting to. Their itemized statement adds up to $552,429.55. And we have provided that to our insurer. They have investigated this. They have provided us with a memorandum indicating that the alleged negligence would be defensible through discretionary immunity. They may also make a claim for under 42 USC for a violation of civil rights. If that occurs, Marathon County should be covered by qualified immunity. I'm going to make sure that this document is included in the packet for Tuesday night. But it is our strong recommendation by the insurer that we disallow this claim.
Okay, any other questions on that claim? Denial. Okay, we will move on to ordinances. Environmental Resources Committee, item 9C1, Environmental Resources, item A, Town of Plover rezone. Dennis Tulpen, ordinance 11-19. Any discussion? Okay, item 9C1B, Town of McMillan rezone. Tim Verland and Siegfried and Alice Sabastine. Ordinance 12-19. Any questions on that rezone? Okay, 9C1C, Town of Rib Falls rezone. Dennis and Diane Bergs, ordinance 13-19. Any questions on that rezone request? And last but not least, under ordinances, under 9C1D, Town of Frankfurt rezone, Neil and Heidi Rudin, ordinance 14-19. Moving on to resolutions, under 9D1, Forestry, Recreation Committee, Environmental Resources Committee, and the Human Resources, Finance and Property Committee. A, approving an application to acquire state funding through the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Grant Program, Resolution 32-19. Any questions? Okay, item 9D2 from County Board of Supervisors, item 2A, change in supervisory district boundaries resulting from the City of Wausau annexation, Resolution 34-19. And 9D2B, change of supervisory district boundaries resulting in the Village of Rothschild annexation, Resolution 35-19. Moving on to item 9D2C, change in supervisory district boundary resulting in the City of Schofield annexation, Resolution 36-19. Moving on to item 9D3, Human Resources, Finance and Property Committee. 3A, approve 2019 budget transfers from Marathon County Department of Appropriations, Resolution 37-19. This does require 2/3 majority. Any questions? Okay, and last but not least, under item 9D4, Human Resources, Finance and Property Committee, Environmental Resources Committee, and Park Commission. Under 4A, create 1.6 FTE motorized recreational coordinator position for the Parks, Recreation, and Forest Department, Resolution 38-19. Supervisor Gumbs.
Mr. Chair, I'd like some explanation of what this means and why it has to be done and how it's been done lately for those of us that don't really know much about that position, please.
Okay, we have the Parks Director with us tonight, and I would ask her if she wishes to try to address those questions.
I do, thank you. Chairman Gumbs, we have, this position it was a part-time position and then a full-time position up until 2005. And then when we had a vacated position for some legal matters of that position, it got absorbed by our park ranger. So our park ranger has been doing this position since 2005 as 2 positions. This particular position, that's a part-time position, is really a grant coordinator. They manage a large number of grants for all of our snowmobile and ATV programs throughout the county. And our park ranger, it's about 50% of his time right now. So over the years, it's gotten more and more because we have 29 snowmobile clubs and a number of ATV clubs. It's come to, as John, who is our park ranger, is going to retire on August 2nd after 37 years with the county, and evaluating his position and how much time he has spent over the last quite a few years of not doing his park ranger position, so less time out in the county managing our parks and our forests and helping with the law enforcement side of it, and more time on these grants. It is important to us that we have somebody in the department that is a full-time park ranger and working with our sheriff's department to do that. So we are requesting that we go back to a .6 position to start out with for this grant coordinator position as it was prior to 2005 to manage. It's really a lot of office work and a lot of communications back and forth with our snowmobile clubs. We feel that's not fit the job description of a park ranger. A park ranger has much more specialized skills that should be used for those. So as we work on that position and working with the sheriff's department, that's something that will come forward later on how we will work that position in, because it does have to be a sworn deputy in that position. But also within our department, now is the time. It works well within the budgeted amount that we have. We've had a vacated position in our department all this year, so we have funds left over. There will be no fiscal impact for 2019, and we don't believe there will be any fiscal impact for 2020 because of a number of retirements in our department. We had a retirement last year. We have had a retirement in our parks maintenance operation already this year. John's retiring. We'll have 2 more retirements coming before the end of the year. And as we rehire those positions that are currently right now at the really high end of the salary, we'll hire them back at a mid-level at least or lower. So because this is a part-time position that is also funded 50% by that grant that it's monitoring, it's a pretty small impact to that personnel budget, which is absorbed by those changes in personnel.
The other thing is Finance and Property Committee did look at that and forwarded with a unanimous recommendation. And administration has also weighed in under our current policy. Before any new positions are brought to the board, administration has to agree that it makes sense. And so they have weighed in on this position also. Supervisor Gumbs.
Could you explain a little what they do with the snowmobile clubs? Because I happen to be a snowmobile club member.
Sure. So our 29 snowmobile clubs and our ATV clubs, but the snowmobile clubs get paid through the state funding where all of the fees go when you buy the license for the snowmobiles. They go into the state fund. That fund pays our snowmobile clubs $300 per mile to maintain those trails. It's all through a grant. So we have a number of different grants. I believe there's 15 different grants that John works with currently. And that's how those snowmobile clubs get reimbursed. So there's a program that the snowmobile clubs have to fill in any time that they do maintenance on the trails. That comes to our office. We have to verify that work, sign off on it, and then it goes. There's a big reimbursement at the end of the year. So if we don't have somebody in this position, our snowmobile clubs would not be reimbursed for that maintenance that they do on those trails. ATVs get $100 a mile per trail, but it is a position that is required by the state that the county manage these grants. How we manage them is really up to each county individually. But if we don't have somebody in the county to manage those grants, then those snowmobile clubs don't get that reimbursement.
Okay, any other questions? Supervisor Schaefer.
Well, I thought I was on the board, but I didn't. You are. I am. Okay, thank you.
I seen you up there.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking at the, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm looking at the fiscal impact. It says a portion of the position is currently budgeted for the 2019 and will be available in 2020 from the 2019 retirement within the department, period. The remaining funding for the position will be funded by the grants administrated by this position. So how much of this position is coming out of a tax levy? Half?
Yes, it's a little, right around 50%, yes, is coming out of the tax levy. That's
Excellent.
currently
Okay.
budgeted, but it won't be added to our budget right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Well, thank you, Jamie. Moving on to item number 10, announcements and/or requests. Supervisor Durham.
Just in case nobody else is going to say anything, there is an airport board meeting tomorrow morning. If you're interested at 8 o'clock.
Please use the mic, Supervisor. Otherwise, it doesn't go out on the television.
There are a lot of big ticket items on there that we're looking at, including beginning the process for renovating the whole gate area, concourse, and Also, there's going to be a really big project in rehabilitating the north-south runway. It's going to take a while to do that. So those things will be a lot of details there, and it's an important meeting. But the other thing I wanted to mention, of course, and I mentioned before, Saturday is the fly-in, and hopefully we'll have good weather. It's from 8 to 3. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the busiest part will be from 10 to 1. We're hoping the warbirds will be able to fly in. There will be a flyover by F-15s from Duluth. There will be a little breakfast in the morning that is catered in, and Bob's Catering is going to have a lunch there too, if you've ever had any of his foods. And those are not charged, but any donations will go to the not-to-be-forgotten honor flights. And there will be a number of other things, souvenirs and so forth for sale, number of other things to do. So hopefully the weather will cooperate and you'll get a chance to see that. Thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Christensen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next Thursday night at the Rib Falls Ballroom is the Combined East and West Towns Association meeting, and meeting's at 7 o'clock, and lunch is at 6:15. We have the Secretary of the Department of Transportation coming to speak, so it should be an interesting meeting, so everybody's invited. Thank you.
Supervisor Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to extend a heartfelt and hearty congratulations to Supervisor Jeff Zerini, who just got married. Sorry to embarrass you, but congratulations. We're also happy for you.
Okay, Supervisor Guild.
Well, Supervisor Durham did beat me to the punch on the Warbird Rendezvous, but he also said, correct me if I'm wrong, so I get to add on a little bit. It actually is going to run all the way until 4 o'clock on Saturday. They extended the hours this year. And I did want to just verify that there is a free pancake breakfast from 8 until 11 by Newski's at Gulliver's. And then that's immediately followed by that free lunch sponsored by Bob's Catering and the Warbirds as well. So I reiterate everything else he said about the airport activities, and hope we see somebody out there.
Okay, Supervisor Nutting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I might prevail upon Supervisor Durham, if you could enlighten us and the public watching, where do we enter will it be signed properly for people entering?
Yeah, you would enter in a normal entrance, it's a one-way.
Is there?
You would enter in a normal entrance, it's a one-way. You'll be directed into different parking lots. There will be a minor charge. No, there won't be any charges.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any other announcements? I do have one. Just so everybody's aware, there will be a closed session on Tuesday, and then also I will be bringing forward appointments to the Rules Review Committee, and that's the only announcements I have. The clerk has an announcement.
It being a hard decision, but I sent this letter yesterday to our sheriff and copied Kurt and Administrator Karger. Pursuant to Wisconsin statutes, the county clerk is to file with the sheriff a letter of effective date of resignation. Effective Friday, September 13th, I'm tendering my resignation and I'm going to retire from the office of Marathon County Clerk. I've enjoyed working with Marathon County for 48 years. Beginning my career in 1971 and becoming county clerk in 1996. And I'll be starting my new career called retirement. So September 13th will be my last day with the county. So thank you. That's all I have to say.
I tried to not accept the resignation letter, but she put it in
Unless
my
that was-
back pocket, and I had to take it with.
Unless that was applaud for glad I'm leaving.
I think we can all agree that Nan has dedicated a lot of her service and life to the county, and it's going to be some big shoes to fill. And she will be with us for at least 2 more county board meetings. So, excuse me, 5 more county board meetings, 3 more county board meetings.
I'll be here.
She'll be here till the 13th. The 12th of September will be her last county board meeting. So, any other announcements and/or requests? If not, we stand in line for number 11, Supervisor Langenhahn with the motion, and Supervisor Seefeld with the second to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. 12 minutes.